Slams him down! Boom, shakalaka! And a big right hand from Askren. Now we've got this contrast of styles. Ben Askren's top game, his vicious ground and pound, and Aoki throwing up the legs, throwing up the arms, all sorts of submission options.
This is what the world has been waiting to see. The jiu-jitsu of the master Shinya Aoki. How is he going to handle the top game of Ben Askren?
There's the ground and pound.
So I am actually beginning to see many people online get very concerned that Jake Paul is actually going to beat Ben Askren. And I don't share those same concerns at all. What you're gonna try to tell me is a former Olympian, a two-time MMA champion, an NCAA champion in wrestling is going to lose against the everyday flow bro kid. But I think Ben Askren is going to maul Jake Paul, and here are 3 reasons why. Reason number 1, experience. Now, while Jake did impress in his past few fights, they have only been against 2 YouTubers and a basketball player, not exactly the best competition in the world. Meanwhile, Ben Askren has been an elite level fighter since at least 2006, where he won the NCAA championship in wrestling. And then the next year followed up by winning it again in 2007. And no big deal, but after that he just went undefeated for 10 years and won 2 championships in 2 MMA promotions. Meanwhile, Jake Paul did not even start boxing until late 2017, which gives a decade's worth of experience to Ben Askren over Jake Paul. But experience doesn't just take into account how long somebody was fighting. Let's look at who these 2 guys were fighting. Jake fought 3 YouTubers and a washed-up basketball player in Nate Robinson. Meanwhile, Askren has a 19-2 record as a professional fighter, beating guys like Douglas Lima and Robbie Lawler. Jake may be impressing early on in his boxing career, but he still has a long way to go if he wants to reach the heights that Ben Askren already has. Number 2, pressure. Jake Paul is a knockout artist and always has been one. Meanwhile, Ben Askren has only been knocked out once. Meaning, if he can't knock out Askren early, he's likely to fall right in the wrestler's trap. Askren has made his name wearing guys out in long fights before finally finishing them altogether. This is likely something Jake is not used to at all because his fights have never gone the distance. So if Jake is going to win, it's likely going to be from knockout. However, Askren has only been knocked out once, so that may not be in Jake's favor either. But also, we don't know how Jake will react because he's never been in a situation where a legit fighter is continually moving forward on him. The bad news is this is something that you cannot develop in camp. This requires dozens and dozens of fights to actually figure out how to adjust when somebody is mauling you, which Jake does not have. And mauling is exactly what Ben Askren does best. Take the Robbie Lawler fight, for instance. Within the first minute, Ben had nearly taken Robbie to the ground, and then the tables completely turned after Robbie flipped him on his head, nearly knocking him out. Ben survived over 20 unanswered shots, which should have knocked him out. But Ben got right back up and wrestled Lawler to the ground, and less than 2 minutes later, the fight was over and Ben had won. This fight taught the world a few things about Ben. 1, it's nearly impossible to knock this guy out. And 2, even some of the best fighters in the world can't take the pressure that Ben Askren can put on you. So needless to say, it will be a real tall order for Jake Paul to find any way to knock out Ben Askren, much less weather the storm that is coming his way April 17th. Number 3, mentality. So, you know the old saying, there's nothing scarier than a man with nothing to lose? Just enter Ben Askren's name right there. Ben Askren has said on multiple occasions that no matter what happens after this fight, he is going to stay retired. Meanwhile, Paul has said this is the road to McGregor. So if he loses this fight, that road is done, over, closed. He's never touching McGregor if he loses this fight. While this could be seen as a lack of preparedness for Askren, this also transfers all the pressure onto Jake Paul. Think about it like this. If Askren loses or he wins, he's still coaching his wrestling academy the next day. If Paul loses, his boxing career is over. This is why Askren always seems so calm in the press conference, while Jake Paul seemed to be losing his cool at every turn. To put it simply, Jake Paul is not 100% comfortable with who he is as a fighter. Ben Askren is 100% more comfortable with who he is as a fighter. And here's the issue that Jake Paul is going to have to overcome. If one championship fighters couldn't get under Ben Askren's skin, if UFC fighters couldn't get under Ben Askren's skin, then I highly doubt a YouTuber is going to get under Ben Askren's skin. This is why Ben Askren won the press conference, and this is why Ben Askren will also beat Jake Paul April 17th. But that is just my thoughts on this fight. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Please be sure to like and subscribe because I have a lot more fight content coming soon, as well as watch my other video on why I think Jake Paul could possibly win this fight. I'll see you guys next time.